That being said, hallelujah for Yahusha and the word, give honor and praise and esteem to our Elohim Yahuwah by way of our master, Yahusha HaMashiach. And let's get this show on the road. Y'all all right on the phone? Is everybody gravy?
Yes, sir.
5th chapter of John. Yes, sir. 39th verse. And it says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify me. I'm just going to ask this question just so you remember. What do we look at in the law which will remind us of searching for the direction of the lawgiver? Y'all remember where that come from? Some of y'all might not even heard it. But you go look at Numbers 21, when they dug a well, and they say they dug it by the instruction of the lawgiver. And the Hebrew word for dig in that verse means to search. You know what I'm saying? And they say they were told to search by the instruction of the lawgiver. The lawgiver is telling you to do what right here? Search it. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. Do you see what he told these people? He said, I know you. Now, when Mashiach said that he knows these people, you know why he knows them? Because he searched and tries the hearts of all men. You know what I'm saying? Now, I put it this way, right? Everybody in this room has had a time where they were walking in his word, and they may have not been walking at 100% pure capacity, and they process of doing it. Ain't nobody in this room exempt from that. You know what I'm talking about? But then you turn around and look at it, is your mind still stayed on the fact of you doing that? You even sit back and look at, does Yahuwah do certain things to prick your heart to make you realize you messing up? You know what I'm saying? Is he doing things to cause things to pull you back where you done wandered outside of the way? And when you do that, that's because you belong to him and it's for the deliverance of your soul. You know, sometimes Yahuwah put you in certain situations that you see you got to need him, and then he pull your black behind back so you don't never drift out his way ever again. You know what I'm saying? He'll do that now because he let Solomon drift out. You know what I'm talking about? Still came back and he let David drift out. You know what I'm talking about? Again, that's sit back showing we were talking about last night, how thoughts can creep into your mind. That lust can creep into your mind, get you all messed up. Exodus 24:7. I'm going to weave in and out with this stuff with Kingdom Shamahim. You feel me? Because before we read Exodus 24, Jeremiah 51. Let me start with that first. That nigga bite used to them blows. Make sure where we at. Jeremiah 51 by verse 47. Matter of fact, 44. Jeremiah 51 and 44. 51 and 44. I will punish Baal and Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he has swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. The wall of Babylon shall fall. What do you think this could be talking about? Especially considering that we've been talking about this beast a lot the last week or so. What you think that could be talking about, Troy?
All right, here let's talk about Baal. You know, that's one of the gods of Babylon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He said, I will bring forth out of his mouth which he has swallowed up. So Baal has consumed something. So what he's going to bring forth out of his mouth is the people that is consuming us. So he said, I'm going to bring forth out of his mouth what he swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together anymore into him. So he's going to take his people out of the mouth of Baal, and the nations no longer going to flow into the mouth of Baal. And it say, yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. So he said he's going to take back his people. He's not going to serve Baal no more, and he's going to destroy the city.
Any of y'all got an idea? I don't care who answers.
I was going to piggyback basically when he said, come out of here, my people, and then in Revelation when he said, the great Babylon has fallen.
I want y'all minds to really be zeroed in on one thing alone. Don't get caught up on Babylon.
Oh, okay.
I want y'all to sit back and think about what we've been talking about the last week. What we've been talking about the last week. The beast. So he say Baal, this false idol. We know the beast does what in the 13th chapter of Revelation? What does he create?
Shut up,
And it says, sit back and look what he say, right? I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up. What was he bringing forth out of his mouth? Blasphemies against Elohim against his tabernacle, against the host in Shamahim, and the people. You know what I'm saying? So I got to cause you to I got to cause you to swallow that back. I got to call you to spit that back up because you've been running off at your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Then we say the wall of Babylon, right? We know what's the Hebrew word for wall, the character for wall.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? The cot, right? And what does it represent? A defense. What was his defense? His defense was the serpent. Remember, it was the serpent that gave him the ability to speak these great things. You know what I'm talking about? Now, of course, he said back, I'm going to cause you to, let me read it properly. Which he has swallowed up, the nations shall not flow together anymore unto him. What did it sit back and say? That he had dominion over what? All nations, kindreds, tongues, and nations. So when we looking at the wall of Babylon falling, we done already ascertained that when will the wall of Babylon fall? When will the wall of Babylon fall? According to what we looking at, what we looked at with the beast, when does the wall of Babylon fall?
Tabernacles?
Or during tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? We remember Babylon falls and then Mashiach come back. The marriage supper of the Lamb, right? Who got dominion and power over Babylon? The beast. Who is the beast serving? The serpent. That's why you say the wall or the defense. Your rule is up. You no longer have a defense. The beast had 42 months to rule, which means he had a wall, he had a defense up. You know what I'm saying? But he say, now your iniquities have reached unto Shamahim. I got to pay you to the full. All that go right back to when he say the time of the Amorites hasn't been full. Remember that in Bereshit in Genesis 15 when he tell you about that?
Yeah, with Abraham. So what that meant when you said that? The Amorites?
No, we got to wait on that one. That's something whole totally different. We're going to get off track. Listen what he say, verse 45. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahuwah. And lest your heart faint, for you hear a rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, and ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon. Her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall be in the midst of her. Then Shamahim and the Arats and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoilers shall come upon her from the north, saith Yahuwah. As Babylon have caused the slain of Yasharal to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the Arats. And you know what I'm saying, man? You know that valley and all that stuff right outside the land ain't too far from where this man gonna be at with all the confusion. They all gonna die there. Remember, what is the place called? It's not a war. When you hear the word Armageddon, understand that is not a war. Them people tell you the battle of Armageddon. Armageddon is a place. It is a location. Revelation 16 tell you that. It is a location. It is not a battle. This is the next thing he say now. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand still. Remember Yahuwah afar off, and let Yerushalyim come into your mind. Now, why do you think that he would tell you when you see all this damage, all this destruction, all this death, and he tell you to do what?
Let Jerusalem come into your mind because it's soon to be.
Let the city of salvation, the city of shalom, come into your mind. Now, why would this come into your mind? Exodus chapter 24. Let's see why it would come into your mind. That's why I had to go there first. (24 and 9), actually. We don't want 7. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something, right? The verses before, verses 1 through 8, is talking about the establishing of the first covenant. We're talking about sprinkling the people with blood, sprinkling the book with blood, sprinkling the vessels with blood. Caved him. This nigga caved the chest in and told him to go outside. Ooh, boy. Say, then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and the 70 elders of Yasharal. So how many people went up there? 74. 74. Now let me see something. 74 people went up there. Now y'all know who the Nadab and Abihu is, right?
That's Aaron's sons, right?
That's Aaron's sons. What happened to Aaron's sons?
They got murdered.
And why did they get murdered?
Strange fire.
Because they burnt incense they weren't supposed to, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they burned strange fire. And you know what that came down to? I'm going to serve y'all like I want to.
Mm.
Told you that's sitting back telling you how you can't come in there mixing worldliness and ungodliness together. You know what I'm saying? And godliness with you can't come do that. You know what I'm saying? That gets you cut off. But look at it. Now when we look at it, right, we got drawn out the water, the light bearer, and then generous, and he is my father's. That's who's going up here. You know what I'm saying? It says, and they saw Elohim of Yasharal, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and it was as the body of Shamahim in its clearness. Let me make sure I read this correctly to you, which name is which. Nadab means generous, and Abihu means he is of my father. We know from last week Aaron means light bearer. He is my father. And then drawn out the water. Now the reason why I'm mentioning all these four names, because all these four names will be indicative of anybody who will actually go up and see the Elohim of Yasharal to even be in his presence. Now I'm gonna sit back and we're gonna read the Hebrew word for paved here. And it literally means tile, pavement, or brick. And in old times, what were most roads made out of? You know what I'm saying? To be made out of, be pavement or brick. These the streets, right? Now, it's something coming to my mind when it comes to that, and I'm going to get to it in a moment. Then it say the body of Shamahim for clearness. So we're going to look at body, right? And when we see the definition for the word body, we see bone, body, limbs, members, external body. So when it says that sapphire stone was as the body of Shamahim for clearness, what you think that was going to come into your mind? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in this one verse, whether you realize it or not. We're going to talk about what the opportunity, what we can have of making it. And the word for clearness literally means purity, purification, purifying, and so on and such. So when you turn around and look at it, right, this man is telling you that it was as a paved brick, as it were a limb, and Shamahim, which is things that are eternal, in purity. Now we're going to look at a natural level in a moment in Revelation 21. We're going to get to that. But if we're looking at being drawn out the water, the light bearer, who's generous, and he is my father, what is coming to your mind to sit back and think on? These are the people that are seeing the Elohim of Yasharal. They're seeing him. Let's finish the verse, the chapter, so you can see it, right? It said, and upon the nobles of the children of Yasharal, he laid not his hand. Also, they saw Elohim and did eat and drink with them. So these men are up there and they are literally seeing the Elohim of Yasharal. They're eating and drinking with him. Now, why would this make any sense that these men are up here eating and drinking with the Elohim of Yasharal? What would come to your mind, especially considering this man just told you when all this chaos begins to happen and you got to flee if you escape the sword, what come into your mind? And they done went up, so where they at? They not down, they up on the mountain. It say they went up.
Can that mountain be looked at kind of as a strong tower as well?
Yeah, you can look at it as a strong tower as well, but we sit back looking at it as they basically getting a glimpse of Shamahim or New Yerushalyim. You understand what I'm saying? They getting a glimpse. Look at Colossians 3:1. We still got Revelation 21, Ecclesiastes 9 sitting out. Look at Colossians 3:1, my apologies. Colossians 3:1. Lizzie, stop. Yeah, you better stop it. If you then be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where Mashiach sit on the right hand of Elohim. Set your affection on things above, and not on the things on the arats. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Mashiach and Elohim. When Mashiach, who is our life, shall appear, then you shall also appear with him in esteem. Now, Moses' name means drawn out the water, right? So what did you just hear in Colossians chapter 3, which should automatically make you think of Moses? It's something in Colossians chapter 3 that should automatically make you think of Moses. If Moses means drawn out the water, it's the first thing should come. Huh?
When it says, but yet that in your life is hid.
Indeed, because he was hid in that. That's not what I was thinking about, but that is correct, sir. There's another one though.
When it says, then shall ye also appear.
It's right in the opening statement.
Risen?
If you be immersed in Mashiach's death, you get in the water, you coming up out the water, ain't you been risen? That's why he said if you be risen with Mashiach, what would Paul be referencing? Your immersion into his death. And then also, like he's saying, because Moses was hid because he was a proper child. You know what I'm saying? So you sit back and you look at this is the first thing you drawn out the water. So the first thing to be able to sit back to be able to see the Elohim of Yasharal is what you got to do. You're going to have to die and resurrect. What we talk about later, you're going to have to be born again. I got a word for that somewhere over here. We'll start with this word right here, right? We talked about that bread last night, right? Troy going to have to come hit that character on it, though. We got the Hebrew word for flour, right? It's salath. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. We let everybody participate. That means y'all in the bike too. Y'all ain't exempt too while y'all be sitting back looking like you don't want to say nothing. What character you think we'll get first for this?
For what?
For this word?
Sa?
Shim.
I was gonna say Sami.
Sama.
That's what I was thinking. What'd you say?
Sami.
I ain't got the characters in front of me to draw them out. So. And what does Samak mean, gentlemen?
Hand on staff.
So the first character we got for this,
I am sure.
I believe, Lil Muffy, you got yours with you? No, she doesn't. So then what's the next thing we'll have for this one here? If we got this one here, I think there's 3 characters in it. I know
That's a L.
Yeah, that's
Of
it.
course it's gonna be a
Yes, sir. Now we know that's instructions, right? And then after that there we got what?
Talk.
And we know that's sign of a covenant, right?
Yeah, Samat mean like hand on staff support. To lean, lay, rest.
And then I think that's, we got what, one more? I think that'll do it right there, you know. Y'all see this? Y'all can see this? I'm gonna put this on the camera so they can see it at a future time. Oh.
So y'all on the Ustream or y'all just on the phone today?
It's on the Ustream.
Can you send me the link?
It's
Get the link for it.
It's on my page. That's all I know. I don't really know how to send it off this thing. Off this laptop, to be dead honest with you. Go sit down, Leo. So we have a hand of support which instructs to show us a sign of a covenant, right? This is what flour means. A hand of support which instructs the sign of the covenant. So now, when we think about this here, because this is what's going to be sitting back talking about being drawn out of water. Let's look at something, and we also know flour is basically the fruit of the grain. You know what I'm saying? Be able to bring forth the fruit of the grain, or whatever the case may be. So, if you risen with Mashiach, you would seek those things which are above. When we look at Moses, if he's drawn out the water, he's showing you that he's risen with Mashiach. What is he seeking? The things that are above, correct? Yeah, you blind like me, huh? You know what I'm saying? So think about that, right? Think about that. I'm gonna leave that up there for a moment before we take it down. Think about that. Let that rest in your mind, right? He was drawn out of water. He seen Mashiach. He seen Elohim, right? Our objective is that he say the blessed are the pure in heart. They will see Elohim. You know what I'm saying? So if you're drawn out of the water, get 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 17. Y'all just keep that Revelation 21 on deck. We're going to work to it. You can see it. I know my handwriting bad. 1 Peter 3 and 17. Or 18. For Mashiach also have once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Elohim, being put to death in the flesh, but being quickened by the Ruach. Do you see what this is pointing us to? If we want to be made alive to Elohim, what do we have to do? We have to be put to death in the flesh. How are you going to be able to be put? There's a staff of support. And we know staff just means stay, a comfort, a help on all sides. To instruct you to the sign of the covenant. What is going to get you to the sign of the covenant? We know Hebrews 9 say a testament is no effect as long as what? So it's a necessity that what happens? The testator has to die. This is what has to occur. So for us to be a part of the new covenant, guess what? That's why we read that last night. He that save his life will lose it. He that love his life, he said, he that gives up his life shall keep it unto life eternal. So if you want to see Elohim, you got to die. Boy, hush, boy. Hush. All that whining you be doing, man. Hush that noise up. Nobody want to hear all that. Deuteronomy 11 and 13. That stuff ain't cool. Big old crybaby boy, man. Make it Deuteronomy 11 and 11. Well, actually 9, the 8 is what I desire. Matter of fact, make it 3. And I'm just gonna start at 1. I want you to hear every single solitary thing the man about to say. He say, therefore thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohim and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. And know ye this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known. You know what I'm saying? Which have not seen the chastisement of Yahuwah your Elohim, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles and his acts which he did in the midst of Mizraim, unto Pharaoh king of Mizraim, and unto all his land, and what he did unto the army of Mizraim, unto their horses, and unto their chariots, and how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how Yahuwah have destroyed them unto this day. I didn't actually read the verse. What I came over there in 2 Peter, 1 Peter chapter 3, that's my apologies. But what I went over there for was this. What did Peter say? He say the same way that that this was an immersion. Hush, boy. Let me go on because I skipped over that. He said, but which also he went and preached unto the Ruachs in prison, which was sometimes disobedient, when once the long-suffering Elohim waited in the days of Noah while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls, were saved by water. The like figure whereunto even immersion doth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience towards Elohim by the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach. So what we understand is this. When we turn around, right, and you get immersed in the man's death, the first thing it's not going to put away the filthiness of his flesh. Please understand and know. That's why he say, I've inclined my mind to keep your statutes, even all the way to the end. Because your flesh is going to war against the Ruach all the way to the end. That's why he say the flesh lust against the Ruach, that you might not do the things that you ought. So then you have to sit back and realize, if you catch yourself in a battle of the flesh and Ruach, you have to sit back and realize what situation have you placed yourself in. Because the objective is to do what? To bring the sign of the covenant is you have to crucify that flesh. Those members have to be mortified. The only way they can be mortified is with what? The word. See, the word, this man's word will mortify your members. It'll heal your members. You know what I'm saying? It'll quicken your members. Anything you can sit back and think it can do to the heart, the word can do it. Whether it be positive or whether it be negative. You understand what I'm saying? We have to allow that to really manifest into our brains. But the key thing, what he's looking at is, he said, your children ain't seen none of this. He said, you gonna tell them. Remember what Mashiach told his apostles? He said, blessed are your eyes, for you've seen. But blessed are the eyes of those who believe and have not seen. Because you got to remember, we're supposed to believe based on what? What they told us. You know what I'm saying? But they're supposed to be teaching us and telling us of these events. He said, I'm not talking to your children who have not known. They didn't see it. But you've seen it. And you don't believe it. So how do you expect them who hadn't seen it to believe it, and you saw it and don't believe it? That's why we read that in Luke, well, in John, where he said, how can this man have a devil? Can the devil open the eyes of the blind? You know what I'm saying? You sit back and look at it. Hashatan knows scripture, right? He knows book, but he can't open the eyes of the blind. He doesn't have that power. If Hashatan wants you to continue in sin, then what is he going to do? Keep you blind. When you blind, that means you what? You walk in the darkness, you can't see where you going. If the light is made manifest and your eyes are open, that means you've awakened out of sleep. You know where you going. Where we at? Verse 4. Well, verse 5. In Deuteronomy. And what he did unto you in the wilderness until you came into this place. Leah, you better sit your behind down somewhere. Ain't nobody playing with you. And what he did to Dathan and Abiram and the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up in their households and their tents and all their substance that was in their possession in the midst of Yasharal. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of Yahuwah, which he did. Therefore you shall keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that ye may be strong and go in and possess the land whither you go to possess it. And that you may prolong your days in the land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that flow with milk and honey. For the land which they go in to possess, it is not as the land of Mizraim, whence ye came out, where thou sowed thy seed and watered it with thy foot as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drink water of the rain of Shamahim. Now think about what he just said. Now we looked at milk the other day. Anybody remember what milk means? Or the word for milk? Leah, hush. Leah, hush that noise up. Now we're going to look for the Hebrew word for honey, because we already got milk. This is the word we got for that. Leah, hush. Somebody gonna give us something to cry about then. What's the first character we gonna get for this here, gentlemen? We're gonna get the Dalet first, right? So, and what that means, gentlemen?
Entrance, doorway.
The door. I'm gonna put it on the camera in a minute, y'all. Bear with me. What's the next thing we gonna get? We gonna get the bot right when you say. And what's that gonna be, right? The house. Leah, hush that noise up. And I would say the last one, would it be the Rosh? Would that be saying? The sin? Okay. And that's the fire, right? The consumer, right?
Teeth is mouth. It's nothing but the teeth.
Now we're going to work that Yeshayahu 7 in there. We're going to keep Revelation 21 on that. Y'all just be paid. We might not get to Ecclesiastes 9. Let me get this on here for the people on the stream. They can see it. I know it's a glare to it. We can get that on there. So this is what we got for honey, for the Vaj, right? What do we have? We have the door to the house that consumes. You know what I'm saying? The door to the house that consumes. Now he just sat back and said this is a land of milk and honey. Now this is going to make a lot more sense when we look at what we got in Isaiah chapter 7. While y'all hold Deuteronomy chapter 11, come over here to Isaiah chapter 7. Isaiah chapter 7. About verse 21. So keep in mind, we talked about milk the other day. I don't know what I did with it. I got it over here somewhere. And we know that the word for milk is kalab, and that literally means the household is under his rules. And that's the rod and scepter of his authority. So this is what he said back when you come into this land of milk and honey, that this is his house, his rules, my rod, my discipline, my comfort, under the scepter of my rulership of my authority. Then we got honey, the door of the house which consumes. Now, when we turn around and we sit back and look at that, we can see somewhere in the law where that's going to come in at that. How the land consumed the inhabitants thereof who walked contrary to it while they were in it, and the land consumed them and spit them out. You know what I'm saying? Now, you turn around and you go in, and then you can also look at it is when you enter into the door to come into the house, it should consume all iniquity out of your heart, and you should become one with it. Because why? The fire or the refinement. You know what I'm saying? We're going to look at that as well. But let's look at Isaiah 7:21 first. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. What's the young cow and what's the 2 sheep?
Can the 2 sheep be the house of Israel?
That's who the 2 sheep are, is the house of Yehuda and the house of Yasharah. All you got to do is go look at John 10:17. He say, I have another flock, which are not of this flock that I must bring in, that it might be one fold and one shepherd. You know what I'm saying? That's going back to the 2 sticks in Ezekiel's hands. But who would be the young cow, though?
Is the Gentiles?
He said it'll come to pass that in that day a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. What's a heifer? A young cow or a female cow? That's a young cow. A calf or bullock. Even what matter of fact, me and Corey just talking about that in Leviticus 16. You know what I'm saying? He got to take the bullock and do what with it? He got to take that bullock, he got to sacrifice it, he got to sprinkle the blood on the altar 7 times. Then you know what he do after that bullock? He take the sin offering, right? Which is the goat. And he sprinkles the blood on there 7 times. And then you know what he do after that? He go get a scapegoat, right? Can put all the sins on the iniquity of scapegoat, send the scapegoat out. What you were looking at was actually the coming, the death, and the resurrection of Mashiach with those 3 offerings, which is still going back to the body of Shamahim for clearness, because you'll have a new body. Your vile body will be made like unto his esteemed body. And don't you realize that if you have Shamahim for clearness, you're going to shine bright? Don't you realize a bright light is clear? You know what I'm saying? It's not like any type of light that we've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of, most people say that's a clear diamond, it's got VVS cuts, it's a VVS, all this type of stuff. We're like, that's a clear diamond, ain't got no flaws in it. You ever heard people say that? That's a clear diamond, ain't got no flaws in it. You can see straight through it, it's clear. You know what I'm saying? Or matter of fact, if you done sit back and been in certain locations, like, you know, down in the Keys, you know what I'm saying? Or certain islands, you know, the water be blue, it's clear, you can see to the bottom of it. See straight through it. You know what I'm talking about? This is the type of stuff he talking about. Look at the next verse though. It shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall that shall give, he shall eat butter, for butter and honey everyone eat that is left in the land. He say everybody in the land gonna eat butter and honey. Now we're gonna get the flour out of the way, and we're gonna deal with the butter. And for butter we got kamah. That's what we got for that. So when we see that, what we gonna get first? Absolutely. And when we have that, what we gonna get for that? What is the meaning of that? Fence of separation. After that, what we gonna get? That's an E right there. I'm sorry.
R-C-H-E?
Yeah, C-H-E.
Probably the men is probably the next.
No, that's what I would think. And what is that?
Blood, water.
You say blood too. And then after that, we got what?
Hey.
And we got hay, and what that's gonna give us?
Look, behold.
To behold. This is the word for butter. This is the word for honey. So when we look at butter, get that right there on there. What do we end up having? A fence that separates by the blood that you may behold.
And breath
And breath. You know what I'm saying? But
for the hair.
what did it say? A separation of blood to behold the ruach. You know what I'm saying? It's what you getting out of this. Again, you remember we were talking about last night? What does the word automatically do? Not just that, I'm talking about the word of Elohim automatically does what? It separates. It sets apart. So when he turned around and he sits back and he says here in Isaiah chapter 7, verse 22, it'll come to pass for the abundance of milk. So for the abundance of his household under his rules by the scepter of his authority, they will be separated by the blood and behold the ruach, which will in turn allow them to come into the door of the house to be consumed. And be consumed for this intensive purposes means to be changed. You understand what I'm telling you? So when we sit back looking at, they were drawn out of the water with the light bearer who was generous, and he is my father. And then we seen a paved way that was clear as crystal. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because our minds were set on the things of Shamahim. So when we turn around and we look at this here, right? Because I don't think we're going to get Ecclesiastes 9 here today. It says, it shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall give heed. He shall eat butter, for butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. Now that means we have to look at something, because he said what? Let Yerushalyim come into your mind, right? So let's look at Revelation chapter 21 and verse 24. Make it 22. Matter of fact, we'll just back it all the way up and get what we were talking about coming here for in the first place. And let's just look at 21 and 12. Were there gates around the city of Yerushalyim when we came in the land? They put gates when they overcame it, right? And how many gates was it? 12. You know why it was 12 gates? Same way he told Moses to put 12 pillars in the wilderness, right? And had a wall, great and high, and 12 gates, and the gates 12 malachim, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Yasharal. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. The city lie 4 square, and the length is as large as a breadth. He measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. Now, you know, we talked about that. One day we had to sit down and have all the measurements out and right and exact, because they actually testify of Mashiach and a lot of other things. But do you notice how he said the height? Oh, no. The breadth and the length were all equal. What does that mean to you? They were all one. They were all one. Now, it's something in Job that Most High will and we'll get to later on. So that means they were all echad. They were all one. They were all unified. Father, make them perfect in one as we are. Do you know what I'm saying? This is I was discussing something this morning. We're supposed to love each other like a Mashiach loved us, right? That we might show forth that we are his disciples. So that means that we would be one with one another. Remember what we talked about on the day of everybody emerges, right? In Ezekiel 29, if I'm not mistaken, with the dragon that came up out of the water, and all the scales were closely knit together, and nothing could come in between them. If we say we in the body of Mashiach, in the quote Pac, man, because Pac ain't tell no lie. How can the devil take my brother if he close to him? How could Hashatan even be able to get in and work any madness amongst any of us if the only way he could be able to do that because we weren't close to one another? Because if you're close to one another, that can't happen. And we already know one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. Hashatan ain't going to stay nowhere where people are knit close in the word of Elohim. He will depart. He won't come near unto that. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows it's nowhere for him to work confusion and chaos. He can't slip in. He won't come round. That's not how he operates. All he need is one thing, one nigga to slip, one entryway. That's why the book say when he talk about married people, he say, man, don't y'all defraud one another or you do benevolence? Lest Hashatan tempt you in that situation. Because then there's a chance for him to get in and work his way in. You know what I'm saying? He's saying he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is, of the Malachim. I mean, what was it? A cubit is what? A 1.5 foot, right? My memory serves me right. Ain't that what it is? So he says 144 cubits, right? He said that's the measure of a man. So if we look at 144 times 18, I think that'd be about 25.9, how I measure that out. I'm trying to see the exact length of that.
It says 1 cubit equals 1 feet and 6 inches.
Yeah, 1.5 feet. So we look at 144 feet, and then times 6, give you 8. Oh boy. My math all off of that one. We said according to the measure of man that is of a Malachim. So if you're looking at 144 cubits, it's 1.5 feet. So you got 144 feet. Then you take the other 6, and you're gonna have 6 inches. You know what I'm saying? Which is gonna equate to.
Won't you do 144 times 1.6 or 1.5?
Yeah, you can do it.
Ain't that, I got 230.
I got 216.
Yeah, that's what I got, 216.
So that's 216 feet. See what I'm saying? You divide 216 feet by 12,
18.
and you got 18. You know what I'm saying? And what's that? It's gonna be what? $216 by 18, 12. 244 by 12 give me 18. That's gonna be what? 18 feet. And just sit back and realize this is like 3 men stacked on top of each other. You know what I'm saying? It's basically how high that wall is. It's 3 men stacked on top of each other. They say because the average man, well, not in these days and times, but about 6 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? He said, and the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. We just sat back and seen that, right? In Exodus, right? That he said the man's body was clear like glass. Paved work like sapphire stone. And we'll skip over all these stones and go straight over here to verse 21. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was with 1 pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. Again, the same thing like we see in Exodus 24. And I'm gonna mention this here because it was funny, right? You know, me and Troy had worked this little job at this bank, right? And the dude asked me, could I shoot through Wednesday night? And I said, you know what? I got to preach Wednesday night, man. I probably won't slide through the night. I just slide through in the morning. So, you know, he come to me that morning. He was like, yeah, man, I wouldn't even, you know, he say, man, you're a preacher, huh, man? You know, you never really know who you're around, man. It's a great thing to be around somebody who's a preacher of the gospel. This is an old white dude, country southern bred white dude, cool dude, though. You know what I'm saying? Now, I didn't hear that part. Troy talking to him later on outside, and I didn't hear that part. I just heard people going to be a shock when they come to the pearly gates. But Troy say the dude say people going to be shocked when they come and see Jesus ain't white, that he black when they come to the pearly gates. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at him like he is your quintessential southern white man when you see him. You know what I'm saying? But it's the fact, you'll be surprised. Like he thought I was laughing at, I heard Buddy say that. The master wasn't white. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I didn't hear that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just tripping on, he talking to him about the word. I'm wondering what he talking to him about. But no, Buddy said, man, shoot, we all know Jesus ain't white. He's black. They're going to be in a shock when they get to them gates. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say this here. If you be surprised what people know and don't know, and they'll speak on it. You know what I'm saying? Because most people know, man, we know this man don't look like this. You know what I'm saying? These people been lying all this time. Got us around here looking for this blonde hair, blue-eyed sodomite. Reason why I say that, because the man that they used for the photograph was a sodomite. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, I just remember that. Verse 22, right? I saw no temple therein, for Yahuwah Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. When they were going through the wilderness, was there a temple? He said he didn't even tell them to build one, did he? All he sat back. Leah, get your behind in here.
Emmanuel.
Cloud by day and pillar of fire by night.
You know, and you know I would lead to that, right?
And Emmanuel, y'all is with us.
Yeah, but at the same time, see, he would think about what I would think. See, that's what I'm leading to. This is what I'm talking about. The door, the house that consumes. Because when you look at the tabernacle of witness, all it was a temporary place, and you know what it had around it? Not just a cloud, but it had a fence around it that they literally had to build and take down every time they moved. So you know what it ended up? It was a fence of separation. What were they doing in the tabernacle of witness? They were offering sacrifices of the blood. You know what I'm talking about? And the people behold the power of Elohim in that place. So when we turn around about looking at eating butter, eating honey, and drinking milk, it's going to give us a different understanding of what we're at. If we would just look up the word and it's just going to say butter, milk, and honey, that's all you're going to take from.
You get the Hebrew.
But see, it was something like I told you though. And like I mentioned to y'all last night before we dig deeper in this, because I just feel like mentioning this right now, because I just feel like it. When we were looking at the word for bread last night, and I don't want to mispronounce it right, and it was dealing with what? You know, being inside of him, being born, the author and finisher of the faith, you know what I'm saying? All of these things. And then when we read Mashiach and Yachanan 6, talking about he the bread of life, he runs down all of those things. Now, the only way he could run down all of those things is because the people had an understanding of what kot or meme or the hey or the bot or the dollar for the shin meant. You understand what I'm telling you? They had to have a knowledge of that. We done sat back around and think they weren't speaking Hebrew when we could look in John chapter 7 and it says Mashiach was writing letters in the dirt, and then people say, how do you know them characters? Who taught you that? Who taught you that? So that means what we doing right now, they were doing. Because you ain't going to get no understanding just by reading that. But you'll get some from this. So now we need to sit back and look at the separation of what the blood separates us from, that we may see. That's what we need to do, right? If he say we're going to eat butter, let's look at what? 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Let's see what the butter going to separate you from. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Let me pull that back in. Yep. Hello?
Shalom, man. That Ustream keep going out right when you're getting good, man. Talking about a commercial, man.
Oh yeah, we got the cheap one, man. So we got to get commercials, man. We haven't upgraded to where the commercials won't interrupt you.
The first time it was out, I'm like, all right, bet. And I'm like, all right. You know, it won't happen again. Right when it's turning up again, there it goes again, commercial. I'm like, forget that.
That's why most people never used it, because them commercials are something serious.
Mine don't go to commercial.
Huh?
I said mine don't go to commercial.
I can't. I have no explanation for that.
So I'm back on here.
Okay, I know that. We'll cut that off for the moment.
You gotta hit it again. The boys.
But don't you start that. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, don't you start that.
He just said little boy. Never mind.
Yeah, don't you start that. He said, we're going to be little boys. I didn't even say, when we go to the kingdom, we're going to be little boys. And the sad part is, we not being funny. A grown man really said that when we go to the kingdom, we're going to become little boys.
Little boys with 7 virgins.
Little boys with 7 women.
Oh.
Little boys. Stupid nigga. 6 and 9, man. Know ye not that, and it's crazy that it said, because he said there's 7 women, because now it's making me think about Isaiah 4 and 1 with the bread. So now I got to look at that, because we were going to go around there anyway. So told y'all for that. He say, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? Be not deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And such were some of you, but ye are washed. But ye are sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Master Yahushua and the Ruach of our Elohim. So there we got there. If you washed the water, right? Let's look at Psalms 119 and 8 and then Ephesians 5 and 26. Y'all can drop Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Most High willing, we through with Exodus chapter 24. And we done touched Revelation 21. I had to say Ecclesiastes 9 for another day because there's too many words in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 that I won't go through. You know what I'm saying? And I said we were going to touch this here anyway, so we work around here to it anyhow. So Psalms 119 and 9. So the first thing that did work in John chapter 15 and about verse 4. Hey, all y'all better sit down, man. I'm trying to spare you, boy, because somebody look like they finna start scalping somebody. Psalms 119 and 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to thy word. What's going to cleanse you of your way? Now remember, right, we talking about a young cow, right, too? Or a bullock, right? He said if the sprinkling of the ashes of a heifer sprinkled to the unclean, he said, how much more shall the blood of Mashiach, who offered himself without spot by the eternal Ruach, purge your conscience from dead works? Now if the man say his words that he speak unto you are Ruach and they are life, then they should cause a separation. That means this man's blood should cause a separation in your mind so you may behold the Ruach if you eat the butter. Because 9 times, when y'all make unleavened bread, do y'all put butter on it? No, I'm just asking. You know what I'm saying? Not just, I'm talking about like afterwards. Like I said, I don't recall. That's why I just asked. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The reason why I'm saying that because he's saying eating butter and honey. You know what I'm saying? You finna go? Yeah. Go ahead, Lizzie. Hey, Ma, you might want to ask her if she finna go. And she just go all around there with us so she can take it where you need to go. So think about that, right? Butter and honey. Butter and honey. So when we look at eating this butter, because you know there's places where the word mentioned about eating butter, right? You know what I'm saying? It needs to cause a separation. It needs to cause a separation. So when he said, how can a man cleanse his way by taking heed according to thy word? Let's see what the next thing he says. With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments. Keep me in the way. What's going to keep you in the way? The fence. The fence is the cot is going to keep you in the way. Why? Because you've cleansed your way from the mean. Because you've eaten this butter. So these things are going to keep you in there so you can behold Elohim. Because to behold the Ruach and to behold Elohim, when you say. Let's look at the next thing you say. Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee. Now how would you be able to behold the hide the word in your heart? Which of course you're not going to be able to see it. Because the Ruach would be there. And what does the Ruach testify to? He say it will do what? Bring to remembrance all things that I've said unto you, right? 1 John 2 and 27, one of the most exploited and misused verses by Hebrew Israelites all across the world. And we'll tie that back in with this oil in a minute because I got the word for oil here. We just going to hit it a little early. Woo, it's 420. Not that 420 now. That don't pass. Not that 420. You know, hallelujah for Yahushua. How much longer Shayla got? I know she ready to blow.
She doing
Huh?
She doing the 28th.
Oh,
But she'll be hit her. I was just talking to her when she said hit the end of the term though in like 2 weeks.
Or she'll hit, what it is, 40 weeks or 41 weeks in 2 weeks.
Yep.
I know Shayla ain't trying to see no 28th or no May. Whew, that's a whole nother month. I know Lee was ready like, oh, this girl, he'll need to come on. 1 John 2 and 27. Make it 26. These things have I written unto you concerning them that seduce you. Hold this. Let me get Ecclesiastes 9 now. Let's go ahead and get that Ecclesiastes 9 now. He say them that seduce you. You know what Proverbs say, right? When sinners entice thee, consent thou not. You know what I'm saying? He say evil men wax worse and worse, seducing and being deceived. People are going to come at you to seduce you, to do all manner of things against your Elohim. You know what I'm saying? That's what sinners do. See, what I wanted to get to in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 as it comes to its conclusion was this. He say one sinner destroy much good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to wait on that because that's something to hold us out. So I've been holding that. We're going to hold it a little bit longer. But sometimes we don't sit back and realize that one sinner can destroy much good. You can be walking in a good upright. That's why he tell you don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers and good. And he say evil communications corrupt good manners because one sinner can destroy much good. Take it all the way down. Same way one sinner destroyed much good with Mashiach with Judas. You know what I'm saying? That's all it takes. Because you got to remember what a sinner is. Not committing a sin. A sinner is a person in perpetual state of transgression. Continual. Remember what the words say. Because you can commit a sin and not commit another one. That is possible. David is your example. But he tells you though in Nehemiah, if a man sin, he'll even live in it. Because what ends up happening, you start adding sin unto sin. You understand what I'm saying? And then the next thing you know, you mired in it. And then the next thing you know, you're back to what you were before you started. And it's real easy to get like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the old saying is, it's easy to get into trouble and hard to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get caught up in sin and hard to get out of it. Because 9 times out of 10, you don't want to separate from the people who will speak evil of you because you no longer run to that excess or riot with them any longer. You know what I'm saying? Because now they want to understand, well, we was doing this, that, there, and the third. Why we can't do it now? Why you can't hang with me now? Why you can't go nowhere with me now? Why we couldn't? Why? Because I'm going to go to hell messing with you. That's why. I'm serious, though. Because people take it personal. You know what I'm saying? They take it personal. We want Ecclesiastes 9 and 8. They take it personal, though. And what I'm sitting back saying is this here, right? Because the word is supposed to separate you and sanctify you from these people. Now remember, he said you're sanctified and you're washed. You know what Will got on the song? He said it was the blood and the nails. That's the living proof. The blood and the nails was to do what? To sanctify you and separate you, right? Unto Mashiach. Because we done talked about this so many times. You get up on the stake. Remember he say stretch out your arm to him in Job? You're supposed to get on the stake and be just like him. You're supposed to be just like him. So guess what? They supposed to see you. They supposed to see the blood and the nails as the living proof in you. They supposed to see the death of Mashiach in you. Don't you realize this man say people are enemies of the stake? They enemies of the affliction. When I say affliction, I ain't talking about tribulation. I'm talking about denying the flesh. I mean, I done hear this man word in my heart. I'm not finna sin against this man. Because I've separated myself by the blood to behold his Ruach. The Ruach is his breath. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach in our life. I'm going to show you my breath. I'm going to show you my word. Just what we looked at in Leviticus 24 and 12 last night. The mind of Yahuwah was talking about his word. His word. So that means the spits is going to, eating the butter will separate you by the water and the blood. Because what came out of his side? Blood and water. We're going to come back and look in 1 John chapter 5 again for continual validation for this. And then we turn around and sit back and see, this will cause you to see Elohim. So eating butter will cause you to what? Be pure in heart, that you might see Elohim, because that water going to wash your heart. That blood going to cleanse your heart. It's going to cleanse your mind. You can behold Elohim now. That's what it's supposed to do. And it's going to turn by with that honey. And then you can come in the door of the house to be consumed, to be changed. He said we will meet him in the air and we shall be changed. Because he said what? That immortal must swallow. He said mortality must be swallowed up with immortality or consumed. You understand what I'm saying? That's what happens when you eat the butter and the honey. Why? Because you drunk the milk. Because you under his authority and the scepter of his rule. We're not gonna get that from just buttermilk and honey. You know what I'm saying? We just not gonna get that. But told y'all for the because basically Hebrew is the language of Elohim. That's what he speak. Niggas don't like it when you say it, but that's the reality of the play. You don't see Yahuwah or Yahusha speaking to anybody in any other language but Abri. You see them giving the ability to their apostles to speak in another. He say with another tongue and stammering lips, I'm gonna speak with his people. I'm gonna put the language in, I'm gonna put a different language in my servant's mouth so my word can reach everybody because I'm a merciful Elohim. Because I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that everybody repent and be saved. But when he speak, you don't see that man speaking in none but Abri, none but Hebrew. When he spoke to Paul, he could have spoke to Paul in Aramaic.
That is, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
Ezekiel 18. He says it like 3-4 times. He says it like, in that chapter, he says it like 3-4 times. Not in this exact word, but he said it like 3-4 times. That's what made me like O Yerushalyim by Lauryn Hill, because when I would first started dealing with the word, and when I was listening to it, I'm like, she dropping book. But you know, I'm new to the word, so I'm sitting there, but it's the fact that I could catch it though. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't even been a word in a year yet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm catching it though. Like I knowing what she's referencing. Like she referencing Romans 7. She referencing the hook is Jeremiah 4:14. You know what I'm saying? She referencing Ezekiel 18. She's dropping that. You know what I'm saying? She's dropping that. That's an example. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. Everybody don't hear it. You have some people cut that song on and listen right to it, don't catch none of it. You know what I'm saying?
I think we all was on that for a moment in time, man.
I mean, it's a nice record. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying, but knowing that it was talking about script too, because that was one of the when I know when I first came into the word, that was one of the I ran across that, and then just like you said, oh man, she's spitting script. Like,
now little did I know at the time she going to hell for that.
yeah. On the other end.
That's that Lauryn Hill song, man. That song's like 8 minutes and 54 seconds long.
Oh,
Jerusalem.
You said she going to hell for what?
Oh, Jerusalem. Yeah, because she was literally quote, like the hook is Jeremiah 4:14, word for word. Like when we say that she's quoting script in the song she basically singing book. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just something like she just wrote something, like she's singing book. So most people if you know the book, you'll hear it. If you don't know the book, you're not gonna catch it.
She like probably when she married, she ain't know, but I'm pretty
Man,
sure
man.
that she stayed in the faith.
But she was never in the faith. Just because you know scripts don't mean you in the faith.
I'm saying if she was to stay in the faith,
But the devil
she could
transformed
get
himself
hit,
into
and
an
she could
angel.
repent for what she did.
I mean, she could, but man, Lauryn Hill on some whole other type time.
Black Rage.
I don't know.
I don't have nothing. I love her music. Don't get me wrong. But we remember he say by their fruits you gonna know them. So we see the fruit of her doings. She's not in the way at this present
Oh,
time.
I don't know.
That's not to say she can't never get in the way. But at this present time, you know what I'm saying? She not, because that whole album she's singing the Yah. The whole album. Like the whole album. It's an unplugged album. The whole
What she
album.
doing now? She wild now?
I mean, she was wilding out then. I mean, when she was singing the song, she had pants on.
Oh, okay.
Pants on. Like, she was like to see that because on there she was like, you know, they gonna be like, who is this little boy? You know what I'm saying? On this stage, on guitar with this little boy. But like Adam lives in
She
theory.
probably didn't know about the pants, though.
Man, you'll be surprised what people know, bro.
But you can't say she knew.
You can't say she didn't know. But it's not the point is, who ain't gonna sit back and look at what you did or didn't know. All they gonna look at is, that's an offense to me.
But if she ignorant to the truth, I think she be.
But then guess what though? It's a lot of people gonna be ignorant. He said those that know not the law gonna perish without it. And those who have it gonna perish in it.
But he's gonna present himself before they.
But guess what? If she's singing them songs, you don't think he presented himself to her?
My pants though.
Man, you see what you looking at is specifics. That man ain't got to hit you with no specific.
I'm just saying.
He ain't got to run all 613 down to you.
He ain't gotta be 613, but he probably trying to get the.
Man, but you gotta understand something, bro. That album was 13 years ago, bro. Like 13, 14 years ago. Like she just didn't make this. But it's still a hot album. You know what I'm talking about? It's not gonna take nothing away from that. You could get some inspiration You know what I'm talking about? But he could give you some inspiration knowing how hard will you go in and stay on it. How hard will you stay on it? That's what we're looking at, right? You drink that butter is supposed to separate you. And the water in the blood is supposed to cleanse your conscience so you can behold Elohim. How else you going to be able, remember he say the body of Shamahim for cleanness, that's purity. How else you going to be purified?
And then, like you said, being doing it unto the end.
You got to go all the way. The Most High ain't looking for no 6
I'm
months.
not sure. I'm just saying when I compare everything to myself. How when I got hit with the word, I was still smoking, drinking, and then in my heart, I knew that. Like when I used to go around, I was like, sure, smoking ain't in the law. Until something got presented to me, how smoking is wrong. So that's when I gave up smoking. I was drinking beer. It's not a heavy, strong drink till I met you, and you said, hey, you don't know the level of drunkenness.
Yeah, I feel you
cut
on
that
that.
out. So I'm judging everything about me. How I was in the world.
Yeah, but you can't always do that.
So
Cause
once I got hit with something.
Cause you gotta remember, she from New York City.
So
You know what I'm saying? It's all, and we ain't talking
and I
about
had locks too.
not just the one West dudes. It's all manner of Hebrews and all manner of information. If it's any manner of information you want to get, you can find it in New York City. Now, whether it's good or not is a whole nother thing.
There's a lot of trash over there.
But I mean, it's a lot of trash everywhere.
Yeah.
It just happened because you know they're Hebrews. But it's trash Christians. They got 5%ers. They got Moors. They got you know what I'm saying? The Wabians.
Yeah.
But then you already know, man, it's somebody in New York preaching the truth. But you're not going, like everybody knows, you type in Hebrew Israelite in a search engine, you know what you're going to find.
Yep. Power Rangers.
You know what I'm saying? You know what you're going to find. You know what I'm saying? That is by design, though. That is by design. But getting back to the point of the matter, dealing with what we was just at for this Ecclesiastes 9. We was in 1 John 2 and 25, right? He say, I speak these things unto you to them that seduce you. Listen what he say now. We just gonna get 9 and 11. I ain't gonna hit 8 through 10. That's something else. I don't even want to do that. He say, surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better. Now he say the serpent will bite without enchantment. You know what that means with enchantment? Like I told you, that means whispering. So you know how else he'll be. And if the serpent bite, you know what they're talking about. You know what that's talking about. The sting of death. How will he do it? By seducing you through your lust, through your desires. He's going to try to seduce you however way he can seduce you to get you out the way. He says, surely the serpent will bite without enchantment. He doesn't have to whisper it in your ear. He'll seduce you by whatever weakness, whatever way he needs to seduce you to keep you from being separated by that blood. That blood's going to separate you. Don't you realize when they sprinkle that blood on that book of Exodus 24, that separated them to a covenant to Yahuwah? That's why the men went up there to go see the man. Because when you separate yourself in the covenant of Yahuwah, that allows you to see Elohim. But let's come on back, though, to this 1 John 2 and 25. So it says, 26, my apologies. These things have I written unto you concerning them that seduce you. But in the anointing which you have received of him abide in you, you need not that any man teach you, but as the same anointing teach you of all things, and is truth and is no lie, even it have taught you, you shall abide in him. And now, little children, abide in him, that when he shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him at his coming. If you know that he is righteous, you know that everyone which do righteousness is born of him. So, when we swing over here to 1 John 5 and 4, to be born of Elohim, you're going to have to be born of what? He said you got to be born of water and the Ruach. You're going to have to be born of the blood. That blood's going to have to be there. You know what I'm saying? That water is going to have to be there. And then we'll sit back and look how this is going to be able to cause you to behold the Ruach, which is dealing with eating the butter. And then we'll get to the point of going through the door, which, because to get in the house, you got to walk through the door. And then once you walk through the door, to get in the house, then you'll be changed. Because why do we know this? Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Shamahim. So you're going to have to be changed. This is why he was showing, that's the purpose of him showing that. All because you were drawn out the water, you were immersed into his death. When you were immersed into his death, you were able to see the light. He did this because he was generous, because Elohim so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, so that you could see who his father was. And then after that, then you can come up on the mount, which we were talking about last week, that the token of the covenant was that you will serve me on this mount. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the mark in the forehead and in the hand. Which in turn, if you serve me in this mount, then you'll see me. You'll eat and drink with me, right? Then when you eat and drink with me, well, what's going to happen? You're going to see me in the body of Shamahim in clearness or in purity. We're looking to be made pure. Ephesians 5 and 26. Then Philippians 3 and 18. Switch books. I still ain't through with Deuteronomy 11. Ephesians 5 and 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself an esteemed house, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that it should be kadesh, without blemish, separated, washed, no blemish. So you can be, how you gonna behold Elohim with blemishes on you? I'm talking about literally behold him. This man say his eyes are too pure to look upon evil. You know what I'm saying? So guess what that means? We'd have to turn around and do. Remove the evil that his eye, he says his eyes are upon the righteous, right? So that means we would have to turn around. Well, I'm gonna wait till I do that. For his eyes to behold us. You know what I'm saying? We always have to be washed. Look what he told his apostles in the 15th chapter of John. John 15 and 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bear not fruit, he take away. Every branch that bear fruit, he purge it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more, except you abide in me. So there's no way you're going to be able to abide in this house unless you walk in the sun. Because that's what we're trying to get to. This is what we're trying to get to, right? He say he the door, right? Now let's sit back and look at something in Ezekiel the 46th chapter and about verse 1. Let's deal with the honey. Let's get Ezekiel 46 and 1. Let's get John chapter 10 and 1. Because now we're going to complete this whole thing. We got 1 John 5 and 4 on deck too. I'm going to read that first. Getting a little ahead of myself. We know that if we drink this butter, it should cause a separation, and not only offense, a defense. Now this goes back to what you were talking about, what you posted earlier, Pale. Eating the butter should cause a defense. And we're going to look at what Pale mentioned too, because some of that stuff coming to my mind. And then it should come forth with the blood and the water, cleansing your conscience from dead works, which will allow you to behold the Ruach. Work with me. Let's first 1 John 5 and 4, because I'm getting here. This is a lot of stuff. I'm pressed for time. That's all. Hopefully, Most High willing, we won't be pressed for time much longer. Have to sit back and tell y'all you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? They say them people gonna be around here, y'all loud in there. Like they came in there when y'all were rapping. I literally said, my son gotta go. But we won't be, we'll be in a commercial spot. Ain't nobody gonna come in there tell my, y'all too loud, y'all gotta go.
Where you at?
1 John 5 and 4. Make it 3. For this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Elohim overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world, even our faith. In order for you to overcome the world, you have to separate yourself from it. That's why he say, be ye not conformed to the world, but be renewed by the transforming and renewing of your mind, because the world will seek to consume you. That's what we were talking about last night. Coming out of Egypt, we were renewed in our mind by being immersed in the Red Sea, coming out to give us a new mind and a new heart, that we would no longer walk like we did amongst the people of Mizraim, but instead we desired to return to Mizraim amongst the people of Mizraim, of which we were comfortable with. Because I'm saying to tell you something, man, if it don't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And if it don't challenge you, all you will do is regress. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what it is. If you playing sports and you're not being challenged to be a better athlete or a better entertainer, you know what I'm saying? If you're not being challenged, you're not going to change. And the Most High usually challenges us through affliction and adversity. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you, I done told y'all this before, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never say, boy, okay, I'm good, I'm made it, I'm here. I already know you can always grow. As long as you alive, you can continually grow and mature in the word. It ain't going, once you stop growing, you dying. Anything that's not growing is dead. We know that from looking at agriculture and vegetation. Anything that's not growing is dead. You know what I'm saying? We looking to continually grow in Mashiach. We will never stop growing in this man as long as he keep breath in our lungs. You know what I'm saying? And I know I done told y'all that before. No matter how much information the man might give, I know that I can still get better because I'm alive. If I'm about to die, that means I've done what he needs me to do. My job is complete. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if my job is complete, there's no more need for you to continue growing. You've grown to the point where you can go lay down now. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you breathing, I mean, that's another opportunity to mature and get better and better. Because I'm going to tell you something. This book is a never-ending thing. It's always something new that can come up out of this thing. Always. You know what I'm saying? You can always learn something new. You're supposed to add to your understanding daily. The minute a man be like, I don't need to add to my understanding no more, that nigga that's done. Real talk. Seriously though. He say, who is he that overcome the world but he that believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim? How can you believe Yahushua is the son of Elohim unless you've heard the word? Which goes back to what he told them people. He say, man, the works that I do bear witness of me. He say, you believe not because you're not of my flock, as I told you. So if they not of the flock, they don't have defense. They not inside that place. See, I'm a bear son, right? Like I say, because see, I got something on deck. But I want to make sure we somewhere where we can really write it out a lot better. Because we're going to break down the word assembly. And we take our time of breaking down all the names of all the 7 assemblies in Asia. You know what I'm saying? Because there's stuff attached to that. And it's going back to me looking at something that I seen it, and then sitting back looking at, he say, look unto him who made Orion, who got the 7 stars in his hand. And the 7 stars are the 7 Malachim that are over these 7 houses. You know what I'm saying? And these 7 houses is going back to them 7 women saying, man, we got our own bread. You know what I'm saying? Which is tying back to a whole bunch of different other things. To get you sit back and look at it, right? Only the Abrim language would give us a deeper understanding of what these 7 houses are about. Now, again, we still got to touch the cloud of fire by day. You know what I'm saying? With a pillar of the cloud and the fire by night. Going back to what we were talking about in Revelation 21. He said it won't be no night there because Yah Elohim and the Lamb will be the light of it. You know what I'm saying? Because see, man, right now, I'm beyond with y'all. I'm at a point right now, like, because I be seeing niggas argue all the time, like, about the same stuff. Like, I ain't arguing with niggas, man. I ain't did it in months. You know what I'm saying? I might say something, but, you know what I mean? I keep it moving. And that's kind of rare. It's like even last week, y'all didn't see it. I don't think none of y'all was in the room except, no, it wasn't none of y'all in the room. When your man came through. And he turned around and he see Lucifer on the board, but the high L spelled out. And he see these things and what we were hitting on. That nigga left in like 5 minutes. Or your man. His homeboy. We ain't gonna put him out there like that.
Came downtown. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't stay there. See, he's only ever really sat and heard me preach one time.
So he said, and he saw the.
And then he heard what we were talking about, he did. Talking about, I got to get ready to go do my class. You dolo, you periscope, nigga, you just finna sit in the library look crazy. You could have stayed in here with us. You could have, ain't nobody gonna say you couldn't have added on if something came to your head. We'd gladly let you add on. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I say that, because that's going to what I was telling y'all about. That by the favor of Elohim, he allow us to know certain things. And it's not to know these things that we might be puffed up or think we smarter than other people, but it's going to cause a lot of conflict. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be ready for that because most of y'all don't deal with a lot of Hebrews. We don't believe the same as most Hebrews do. And it ends up with a lot of this here, man, nigga tired of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It gets old. You know what I'm saying? It been old, but it's like it's really, really old. You know what I'm saying? So that means we need to sit back and look at this information of what it's providing for, that our minds get changed. And that we continually move to conform ourselves into the image of Elohim completely. You know what I'm saying? Just completely. Verse 6, right? This is he that came by water and blood. This is he that came by the mean. Even Yahushua HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. It is the Ruach that bear witness, because the Ruach is truth. So if we sitting back looking at eating the butter, that means we coming by water and blood. This is what's going to cause us to overcome the world, because first and foremost, we separated ourselves to behold the Ruach, to become a son of Elohim. John 14 and 15. And it says, if you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, neither know him. But ye know him, for he dwell with you and shall be in you. You sit back and look at it. He say the world can't get it. Because he say he don't see him and he don't know him. You know why I don't see him and don't know him? Because they haven't drunk that milk. So therefore they ain't under the scepter of his authority. Look at Isaiah 33 and 22 and 49 and 10 in Genesis about being under the scepter of his authority. Isaiah 33 and 22. For Yahuwah is our judge, Yahuwah is our lawgiver, Yahuwah is our king. He will save us. If he's your king and your lawgiver, guess what that means he's got? He got authority. So if you done drunk that milk, and that milk is literally pointing to his household under his rules, the rod and scepter of his authority, how you gonna get in the land you don't follow his rules? How you gonna enter into the kingdom of Shamahin, you don't follow his rules? How you gonna get in, you don't listen, you don't obey, you don't follow? Like I asked y'all the question, everybody on the phone, everybody, like if Yahuwah literally came to you face to face and told you 3 things you had to lose to get in this kingdom, would you give them up? But if he telling you through your word, through his word to do it, why wouldn't you do it then? You know what I'm saying? You just sit back and look at it. If the word is telling you to sanctify yourself and separate yourself, then why you wouldn't do it then? Why would it take him physically having to come to you for you to do it? You know what I'm saying? If I'm already telling you to do it. If I'm Ruach, if Elohim is a Ruach, and you separating yourself from the water, the blood, to cause you to behold my Ruach, which would cause you to behold my breath, which would cause you to behold my words. And if you behold my words, then guess what you would do? You would be able to come through the door of the house. But come on around here to Genesis 49 and 10. Where we at? It's creeping on 5 o'clock.
Yeah, meet my dad.
Yeah.
I know he can ride the same thing with kids.
The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his foal unto the vine and his ass's coat, unto the choice vine he washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Why is his teeth white with milk? His teeth are white with milk for one reason and one reason alone, because he's under the rules of of authority. That makes that his teeth being white with milk a lot different. He's under the authority of his father. And his father submitted all rule unto him. Look at John chapter 5 now. Five and 26. For as the Father have life in himself, so have he given the Son to have life in himself. And he have given him authority to execute judgment, also because he is the Son of Man. So he's got the power to execute all of these things because of the water and the blood. Like, how do we seek to overcome if if the water and the blood is not present and we haven't sanctified ourselves? Look at John chapter 10 and verse 1. I know I mentioned Ezekiel 46 and 1. We get it in a second. Get this off here, man. He said, truly, truly, I say unto you, he that enter not by the door into the sheepfold, but climb up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. But he that enter in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter opened, and the sheep hear his voice, and he called his own sheep by name and lead them out. And when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Why did they? Because they would know his breath, because they done sanctified themselves, right? We don't even need Ezekiel 46 and 1. They know his breath because of the water and the blood, because they would have overcame, because they would have believed on him as the scripture has said. Therefore they can behold. That's why he say the world cannot receive the Ruach of truth, has neither known him nor seen him. He said, how can you call on him whom you have not believed? And how you can believe on him whom you have not heard? You know what I'm saying? So then when you take it that you hear the man, you've heard of the man, and you've been taught of the man, and you still don't know him and can't see him, I mean, your heart ain't been purified. 1 John 3 and 1. Just sit back and look at it, right? Just like we were talking about in Ecclesiastes 9. He say the serpent can bite without even whispering, without even dropping a word. Just seduction of outside things that'll get you distracted. You know what I'm saying? Because he on the prowl. That nigga's on the prowl. You understand what I'm saying? He said, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore the world know us not, because it knew him not. If you become a son of Elohim, the world ain't gonna know you. So if the world know you, guess what that means? He said, behold, now we are the sons of Elohim, it doth not yet appear, but we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Everyone that hath this hope in him purify himself, even as he is pure. That's the body of Shamahim for clearness, right? Purity. What's going to purify you? The word is going to cleanse you. The water and the blood is going to cleanse you. These are things that's going to make you pure. Do you really want to be pure? Look at that Philippians 3 and 18 I mentioned, man. And at the end of the day, that's what eating the butter coincides with. You know what I'm saying? It's going to separate you by the water and blood to cause you to behold the Ruach. And that means it's going to have to purify your heart. It's going to have to change your heart. And you sit back and look at it. If the butter is going to separate you, it means it has to separate you from all things that, because Elohim don't dwell with no wickedness. He don't want nothing to do with it. That's why he won't even come dwell on their rats till after 1,000 years or one day has passed that all things might be cleansed. Because I ain't coming nowhere near it. Might have to switch books again. 3 and 18. For many walk of whom I've told you often, and now tell you even weeping, they're the enemies of the stake of Mashiach. It's a lot of people, they enemies of denying themselves the lust of their flesh. So many people, they don't want to do what the man say. Like, really do it? Like this man told us we got to love this man with all our heart, all our strength, and all our soul, and all our might. How many of us really love him to that point? That means you're giving your all to him. We end up giving our all to human beings and not to Elohim. He say, who end is destruction, who Elohim is their belly, whose esteem is in their shame, who mind earthly things. For our behavior is in Shamahim. For whence also we look for the Savior, the Master, Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his esteemed body, according to working whereby he is able even to subdue all things to himself. What does the law supposed to do? If you under the rod of his authority, it subdues or it calls all things to be under his dominion. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you drink the milk. The milk subdues you under his dominion. The butter will separate you from the blood, and it will separate you, and caused by the water and the blood to cause you to be whole, Elohim. Well, we turn around and see that, and we see that when they were doing that with the covenant in Exodus 24. Then they went up to see Elohim, and they seen him in his purity, in his cleanliness. We're supposed to be moving to make sure, he said, everyone that had this hope in him is pure, even as he is pure. We're supposed to be moving so that we could be made pure to see this man in his pureness because we're pure. How bad do we want to be that way? You know what I'm saying? What's the desire level? He said, I incline my heart to keep your statutes all the way to the end. How can the word get in if our hearts ain't open to go ahead and grab it? We got to let it in. It's a cleansing agent. That's what it does. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it does. Now let's sit back and look at, we're looking at the door, let's look at the house. Is that Psalm 65? Yeah. Psalm 65. It's about time that anyway. Somebody outside out here, birds chirping.
That's me. I'm sitting outside on the back door.
Yeah. Psalm 65 and 4. He say, Baruch is the man whom thou choose and cause to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of thy Kadesh temple. That's the key thing you said. He said whom he calls to choose to come unto him. You know what I'm saying? We can't make this, if he don't choose you, he say, no man can come unto me except the Father drawing. So you can't come to the Son unless the Father's drawing you. And if the Father's drawing you to that and you ain't coming, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. To be dead honest, you know what I'm saying? But he said to dwell in the goodness of his house and in his temple. That's where the honey come in at. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 15. What we got left? Water, egg, and oil. We ain't gonna get all that this afternoon. I'm not even finna try that. I'm not finna try that. First Corinthians 15, about verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim, neither doth corruption inherit corruption. But I will show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass that saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Well, how can death be swallowed up in victory? Reason being because you've eaten the honey, right? Now, when we turn around and we look at eating the honey, which will cause you to enter into the door of the house, which will cause you to be consumed, we have to turn around and look at in Psalms 119, about verse 104, he said, thy word was sweet to my taste like honey, right? He say the manna, which we talked about with the bread, was like honey with wafers, right? You know what I'm talking about? He sat back, you see Ezekiel, he told him to eat that roll, and it was sweet to honey to the taste. He get Jeremiah 15 and 14. See, in order to sit back to be able to enter into to go through the door to enter in the house, you got to come in through the door. That's Mashiach. That's the word of Elohim, which means you got to eat the word. 15 and 14. Jeremiah 15 and 14. And I will make thee to pass with thy enemies into a land which thou know not, for a fire is kindled in my anger, which shall burn upon you. O Yahuwah, thou know, remember me. Visit me and revenge me of all my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering, and know for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me a joy and rejoicing of mine heart. For I am called by the name of Yahuwah, Elohim of hosts. Now you say, there's a fire that burns you, which is that consuming. Look at what Mashiach say in Matthew chapter 3, about verse 16. No, that's not 16, it's probably about 11. And then 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And I indeed immerse you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire, whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. So we'll sit back and look at it, right? Anything that's lukewarm can't be refined. You know what I'm saying? He's seeking to refine you through the furnace of affliction, the trial of your faith, which is more precious than gold. But you're going to have to enter the door to come into the house. Mashiach told you that his body was the house. You got to abide in him and he in you. That way that those things that are sitting back, that's how the body can be, death can be swallowed up in victory, and the mortality can be swallowed up in immortality, be consumed because you've eaten the honey, because that's what the word will do. That's what it's going to do. That's how you're going to be able to get into the house. You're not going to get in the house without the word. How else you going to get in there? Let's come back to Isaiah chapter 7. We start at what, about verse 22. We in verse 23 though. It shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there was 1,000 vines at 1,000 silverlings, it shall even be brought for briars and thorns. With arrows and with bows shall men come hither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns. And an ox, and on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock, there shall not come thither the fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for the treading of last cattle. A mattock is a hoe. I mean, when I'm talking about hoe, I'm talking about a gardening tool. You know what I'm saying? So when he's sitting back telling you right there be for briars and thorns, look at Hebrews chapter 6. Six and 3. Hebrews 6 and 3. I'm sorry, 4. For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the gift of Shamahim and were made partakers of the Ruach HaKodesh and have tasted the good word of Elohim and the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucify to themselves the Son of Elohim afresh and put him to an open shame. For the earth was drinking the rain that come oft upon it, bring forth herbs meet for them by whom it is dressed, receive blessing from Elohim. And I know that goes back to what we were looking at in Deuteronomy, that this is a land that receives the rain from Shamahim. It's talking about receiving the Ruach. Elohim presence is in that place. Because we got to go back to Deuteronomy 11. He say, but that which bear thorns and briars is rejected and nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Didn't he just say that this land would be filled with briars and thorns? Why? Because the people have rejected the word. So let's come back and let's look at Matthew chapter 13. And then we'll swing back to Deuteronomy 11 after that. To sit back and see what that's meaning about those briars and thorns being rejected. They nigh unto curse. They're near to damnation. (13 and 36). Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, he that sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the Malachim. As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, so shall it be at the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, and shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Well, what's the thing that you would have to use to pull up those wheat and those tares? You're going to have to use that mattock. He said, I have to make this a place for what? For oxen and for lesser cattle. I mean, I have to make this a pasture where my sheep can go in and out. And they only able to go in and out because they ate the butter to separate themselves, and the water and the blood cleansed their conscience, and therefore that allowed them to behold Elohim. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we had to sit back and look at. When we ate the honey, eating of the honey is symbolizing entering into the door, into the house, to be consumed or to be changed, to dwell with Elohim, to dwell with him, which goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, eating the bread, or last night. Eating the bread is pointing to what? Coming under his rule to be made one with him, to see the author and finisher of your faith, binding together to be complete, that we all be one. This is why he say, I gave you apostles, prophets, preachers, teachers, and evangelists until they come into the unity of the faith. You know what I'm saying? It's like even drinking the milk. It's sitting back showing you under his rule and his authority, under his discipline, under his direction. It means you have an ear for his word. You have an ear for his discipline. This man's discipline comforts you. This man's word comforts you. And you will endure with him until the completion, because that's where your heart lies. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why he said, I'm going to give you a new heart and a new ruach. Everybody's heart don't lie with him. You know what I'm saying? You got to see where, at the whole key thing, the one thing that Yah wants more than anything is he wants your heart. But you got to be willing to give him your heart. And you got to be willing to let him direct your paths and not try to go in your own way and try to make, you know, the biggest mistake that probably all of us has made at some point or another, making our will, try to make our will his will. Trying to get him to make for you what you want, what he want, and not accepting that what he want might not be for what you want. And that what he want is going to be for your good and your benefit and greater than what you want. When we do that, we show that in actuality, we don't trust Elohim. That's what we actually show him. But we don't consider that at the time. You know what I'm saying? So let's finish this Deuteronomy chapter 11. I'll run back to stuff, man. Get on out of here, man. Where we start at in Deuteronomy 11? We start at verse 10. So when he told you, right, he said, the land that we go to possess is not like Egypt. He said you didn't water it by foot. It ain't had no garden of herbs. You know what I'm saying? Without sow seed and water it with thy foot is a garden of herbs. He said this is a land of hills and valleys that drink the water of the rain of Shamaim. And he said, verse 12 is what we need. And a land which Yahuwah thy Elohim care for. The eyes of Yahuwah thy Elohim are always upon it, from the beginning of the year, even until the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if you will hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will give you the rain of your land in its due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou may gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside, and serve other gods and worship them. And then Yahuwah's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the Shamaim, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, lest you perish quickly from the good land which Yahuwah give you. Therefore shall you lay up my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them a sign upon your hand, that they may be frontless between your eyes. So when we come up, look, he's sitting here telling us, you better remember what I said to you, lest I take this word from you. Romans 1:28. That's what he's telling you now. He said, take heed to yourself. He said, you better lay up these words in your, because he said, I'll give you ruach now. I'll water you with my word. I'll water you with my spirit. He said, I can tell you now, you eat this butter, man. I'll come in, I'll make myself known to you. He said, but if you turn from me and you don't love me with all your heart and all your soul, he said, I will make it my business that it don't rain and that these words fall right out of your heart. You see the key thing? He said he wanted you all your heart and all your soul. Love the man with every ounce of your being, that absolutely nothing on this planet, no one on this planet, not even yourself, will separate you from him. And what I just said, man. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Romans 1:28. Even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers. Remember, an enchanter is a whisperer. So if you're an enchanter, guess what that make you? That make you a Hashatan, now wouldn't it? Backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So we'd have to take notice to make sure that we don't even have pleasure in people that take pleasure in going against a man, because then we worthy of the same judgment as they are. This is why he was telling her, take heed to yourself. See, I didn't read the verse where we mentioned it earlier. He said the land will consume you. He said, take heed that you don't do the things that these nations did, because the land spit them out. He said, I will spit you out the same way I spit them out, because they were committing these acts. You are not going to commit these acts. Be ye Kadesh as I'm Kadesh. Separate yourself unto me. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing we want to do, is sit back and look at it. When we talk about separate your mind and heart from the flesh. Separate your mind, heart, and soul from the world. Separate your mind, heart, and soul from everything contrary to Yahuwah, your Elohim, by Hashem, Yahushua HaMashiach. You know what I'm saying? In the end of the day, right? Let's finish out here in Revelation 19. Because remember, they were eating and drinking with this man when they seen him in his purity and his cleanliness, right? Because I had too much stuff in my head to deal with, and I couldn't hit all of it. So we just stayed on one track. You understand what I'm saying? Because I really want to sit back and show you in the law. And maybe Most High will, and we'll do it next week. Or maybe I'll do it on second Passover. But to sit back and show you in the law, like, everything in New Yerushalyim has already been shown unto you. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you can't see everything that he had prepared. But I'm talking about the water of life. You know what I'm saying? The tree of life. The light that there'll be no darkness there. I'm talking about already you see in the streets of pure gold, the gates, the stones, all this stuff already been shown. The pattern been shown. That's to where we have our mind. Let Yerushalyim come into your mind. That's why we was looking at the butter and the honey and the milk, because all of these things will allow Yerushalyim to come into your mind, because all we were dealing with is that one aspect of eating and drinking with the man. Eating and drinking with the man mean you in the kingdom. Because he told you in Matthew, he said, many will come to the kingdom of Elohim and eat, drink with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? That's the objective. This man generous enough to lay his life down for you so Yahuwah could be your father. You know what I'm talking about? And he gave you light and drew you out the water so you could come eat and drink with him and and sit back and see the body of Shamahim in its purity. So you can have a body from Shamahim in its purity. Because we seek to be clothed with our tabernacle from Shamahim. That's what we grown for. Like, what you really working for? What's your desire at? 19 and 7. Make it 5 or 4. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshiped Elohim that sat on the throne, saying, so be it, hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne saying, praise our Elohim, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as a voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, hallelujah, for Yahuwah Elohim omnipotent reign. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the Kadeshim. And he said unto me, right, Baruch are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of Elohim. Them 74 men were called to a marriage supper. Do you not understand that they entered into a covenant and they went up there and ate with the man? And that's what they did. That's a marriage supper right there, right? Same difference. Hallelujah for Yahushua. We'll start right there.